And now, from the CFTK TV studios, this is Northwest Connections with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome to Northwest Connections. I'm your host, Robert Pictou. Our show today comes to you from the traditional and unceded territory of the Tsimshian people. Veterinary medicine's history spans centuries, where practices evolving from rudimentary animal care in ancient civilizations to the modern professional field we know today. We begin today's Northwest Connections with President of Unifor 2000, Brian Gibson, as he shares why he stayed with his part-time job instead of pursuing his chosen career.
Doing the newspapers part-time, I was looking after, it's called a sub-manager. So basically I worked from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. looking after carriers in the mornings, clearing the drop shite, doing some down routes if I needed to do down routes. And then I was going to university to study animal physiology and stuff. But strange story about that is that I was starting to go to school, and then I was doing some practicum work at a vet, and I was starting to get sick. Went to the doctor and found out I'm allergic to most animals. So I had to think about something else to do.
You didn't have a dog or anything growing up?
No, we didn't. No, I had like a hamster and that's all, and a bird, but no. So that was a complete surprise to me. I was like, oh, that's not good.
So you weren't allergic to hamsters or birds?
No, but cats, dogs, especially cats. Most dogs I'm okay with, but mostly cats. And then I got hay fever too with, so can't work at the farms either because of it.
So it kind of threw you for a loop, I guess.
Yeah, but I completed my biosciences degree. I did actually flirt with human medicine. I actually I wrote the MCAT exam, did fairly well. And so I could have been a family doctor, was just thinking was my backup. But then I was working at the newspaper the whole time, at the Sun and Province newspaper. So I was, I think during that time I was working in what they called pagination. So putting the paper together each night. And I met my wife, and then she's a nurse, and they figure nurses, doctors don't mix too much. And I just, kind of stayed at the newspaper and moved into production advertising. So I built ads in the newspaper, those nice double trucks you'd see in your local paper, that kind of thing.
Now, the newspaper you're talking about isn't like the newspaper we know of today, right? I mean,
it was a physical newspaper, the Vancouver Sun and Province. I mean, they still print. It's not as big as it used to be. I mean, I share this stat. It's hilarious. So we created a brand new printing plant in 1997. And we were told at the time that they were projecting by 2017 that we would be printing 1 million newspapers a day. So they bought 4 presses from the man Roland in Germany, and they do 250,000 each in about a 7-hour period. So they could print 1 million papers in an 8-hour shift, say, right? But of course, with the internet and Facebook and all that other stuff that's out there, it's the circulation went the other way. It didn't go up to 1 million, it went down. I mean, at the time I think we had about 600,000 roughly in 1997 were printing newspapers. There's quite a few actually in the Vancouver area.
And your job was layout?
Mostly layout. So I would take the editorial, would give us the stories, we would make sure they fit in, and we'd put the ads in the pages and then send those off to our print facility, which then create the plates to print the newspaper every day. And then later on they start automating that, and we were part of the union, and we were able to, I got displaced and I got moved into what they call production advertising. So I'd build the West Coast Home and Design magazine, sort of the commercial kind of stuff that the Sun and Province would do. And then I also did the ads in the paper. So I build all sorts of different ads.
So is that where you got introduced to working in a union environment?
Yeah, through the Sun and Province. We weren't unionized right away. When I was doing that morning job, we were not union. Actually, my Secretary Treasurer Bill was one of the ones that organized us into a union. He was the vice chair of our sub-manager unit. We got rolled into the main union in 1994, and the rest is history. I just kept staying at the newspaper and doing union work. I became a steward pretty much right away, just because we had a really bad boss, and I felt someone needed to stand up to him. So I took the training and was trying to bring him under control, because he was pretty nasty.
There's a reason why a union actually comes into a workplace, right? It's because there is like a power vacuum in essence, where there's things, someone's not doing something nice kind of thing.
Well, the union gives you a voice, so you can stand up to injustice or improper use of what they call management rights, which they still have in a union environment. It's just curtailed because of the collective agreement, right? So the collective agreement gives our members a voice against the boss, and so that when they do things like discipline and stuff, there's a procedure, a proper way of doing it, versus an outburst of anger, or, I don't like the shirt you're wearing today, so I'm going to fire you, right? So that kind of thing, right? Yeah.
Because, here in BC, if I remember correctly, we are employment at will.
Well, under there's like notice and periods you got to pay under the Employment Standards Act, right? So depending how long you work somewhere, it can be as much as 8 weeks notice or lieu of pay, right, under employment standards.
So
Northwest Connections will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK TV studios, this is Northwest Connections with your host, Robert Pictou.
welcome back to Northwest Connections. Micromanagement, authoritarianism, and neglectful management are some of the examples of bad leadership styles. They can hinder team performance, create a toxic work environment, and damage employee morale. Let us rejoin the conversation as Brian shares what motivated him to run for a union position.
So it was a little odd, but I was used to it too, because when I worked the sub-manager job, because the paper was in the morning, so it was mostly adults, and I was like 17, 18, and the boss of a whole bunch of carriers. But again, my style of leadership is more of servant leadership, so I would help them, I mentor them and try to help them go. I'm not like the, like some bosses, right? But so I think it prepared me for some of that. The age thing didn't really think. It's just that, look, we got a contract here. You got to follow it. So you're not doing it right here, and then sometimes it's not even about the book. It's just the fact that the union exists that allows me to speak up. Because when you're in a meeting with management, especially as a shop steward, you're the equal, so you can talk to them, and they can't then say, you're insubordinate because you're back talking to me. No, I've got my union hat on right now, so we're trying to talk out this issue and find a solution to the issue, right?
In a union environment, there's a shop steward. So if I'm talking to middle management, even though I'm, say, like a floor employee, I become middle management as a shop steward. Exactly. And then if I was talking to upper management, I'm kind of equal with upper management also. Yeah,
but then you can also pull someone like myself, the local president, to give you some support. if you're a little nervous to go to the upper, but technically, you're by the labor law and how things work, you're the equal of that. And that takes some getting used to sometimes, because the work structure is a hierarchy, but it's like, no, wait a second, I gotta go my union hat on here. I have just to write as much say as you as you do in this meeting, right?
So when, I guess you say, when the union came into where you were working at that time, did it quickly change, or was kind of a gradual change on how things were?
Pretty quick, yeah, because we were working crazy hours. We were working 6 days a week, and then we started working 5 days a week, which was nice. Sometimes millennia hours, they have us doing all sorts of things, and then our pay was pretty low too. So coming into the union, we got a bump in pay, regular shifts, which was kind of nice. Because having to work all the time, it's just like really hard to do things, right? So right away we noticed when it came in, and then when we merged in with the larger contract that had been around for decades, and ours was a relatively new contract, and so it was so when we moved in, we got a lot more protections as there, and like I said, we had this job protection, which I was benefit many times, because they kept evolving as the newspaper evolved. They'd contract out a section, but we had an arbitration award that said that they can contract out stuff, but no one can lose their job because of it, so they have to find you another job within the organization. And I was fortunate enough to access that many times through my career at the newspaper.
Did they give you, was training part of that? Didn't like throw you in and say?
Absolute training, everything, We have language for all that. They had to train you up. So like I said, we went from the mornings outside in the field to answering the phone in the phone room. We had our own customer service. I did that for a couple of years when we first merged in the other contract. So I took that job. It was a pay increase, and dealing with the public that are upset that their newspaper was missing, right?
The shop steward, floor steward is kind of like that entry level, lack of a better word. Where did you go from there?
So start off with the shop steward. That's, you kind of learn the ropes, you understand your contract, and it's a good learning ground to kind of, like you said, work with people, trying to work out some problems with the local manager. Because one thing is, I'm also an educator with the union, so one of the things we teach is we want to solve the issues the lower in the steps. Like, we have steps for a grievance procedure. So the higher you go, more people get entrenched, then it gets more expensive, lawyers come in and all this kind of stuff, so it's easier to do it on level. So our stewards are essential. They're my eyes and ears at the local union office, and they take care of those small issues before they rise up. So I think that's a good training ground, because that's what I do too as a president, just at a higher level. So it's a good training ground. But after that, I actually started serving on the local's executive board, and then I also served on the IT committee. So I was looking after the computers and phones at the union office for a number of years, while I still was at the paper full time. And then I also was our council's secretary. So I took the minutes of the meetings and presented them to the board, and so that was kind of my introduction, and eventually just kind of learning how the works. And I think I was taken under by a couple of the old officers to sort of mentor to eventually I became secretary treasurer first in 2016 and then president in 2017. So I've been president since then. So
Northwest Connections will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK TV studios, this is Northwest Connections with your host, Robert Pictou.
Thank you for staying with us. Leading by example means demonstrating the behaviors, values, and work ethic a leader expects from others. It's about walking the talk and showing followers how to achieve a common goal through actions rather than just words. Let us rejoin the conversation with Brian.
2016, when I first got elected secretary treasurer, it was a couple things. I just thought that the leadership of the union was getting older and close to retirement. I thought, well, you know what, this might be a good thing. And then one of the people that was running had some concerns with, so I thought, you know what, I'm just put my hat in the ring and see what happens, right? So, I didn't much campaign. They were a full-time officer. I was still working at the newspaper, but I knew people and talked to people, and it's crazy. I only won by, I think it was like 4 votes. So the elections committee had to count several times to make sure I did win, but I did win. I threw everybody for a little bit of a loop in that leadership, because I think they had a different, mentorship plan, or how they wanted to go forward, and kind of threw a bit of a monkey wrench into things. So, but no, I decided to do it, and I was surprised when I got it, but I've been kind of jumping in with both feet ever since, right? So there's a lot to learn. I mean, I've had to train a couple of new people in secretary treasurer. I've got our newest one a few years ago came on board, Bill Catterall. He's been great to work with, but again, I got to mentor and teach, and this is my knowledge I've assumed, and I'm trying to help and do that. So we're also on our executive board, talked about this in our budget too this year. We want to try to mentor Stephanie's one of our vice presidents, a little bit younger, trying to give her some exposure to some of the stuff we do, right?
Was that the same union you're in now? The Unifor was the union that you were in?
So it was CEP originally, but in 2013 is when Unifor was created. So CAW, CEP formed together, but it was CEP prior to that. When I first started, we were CEP.
Because I see Unifor, but there's always numbers after them.
Yes,
So,
well, local numbers.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and there's lots. I mean, we got, I think, about 30,000 Unifor members in BC. 111 is the bus drivers down in Vancouver. The 2,200 are the mechanics that take care of that. Down the road here at Kitimat, we got 2,301, 2,300 with the municipal people, as well as 114. So there's a few. Our local here at 2,000, we have CFTK and Vista Radio here now, and we also have newspapers all throughout British Columbia, Prince George, Trail, through Kelowna, Penticton, and then throughout the Lower Mainland as well. And we've got print shops as well, and we have Purdy's Chocolates, which is an interesting story, because they joined us, and you talked about this earlier, about why people think about union, and to them it was all about respect. They were all being worked as part-time, no benefits, but working full-time hours. And then, bonus time would come at Christmas time. These guys would wave these $2,000 of fans and around the plant, and, really upsetting the staff. And they said that's when they decided they needed to have a union, right? To have that, to get the respect that they, it's like, why are they getting treated like that? I'm a worker. I'm the same as you, right? So
it was kind of unique, because before, when you first came in, you came into a union shop by the sound of it.
Yes.
And then now the hat has switched, and you actually had to come in to help form a union at a shop. How did that? How was it? It was finding a learning curve.
Oh yeah, it's that Purdy's group was a long time ago. It was like the end of the '90s, so a bit before my time. I was on the executive board, but not part of the actual drive. But any union, we've done a couple over the years, and they're tricky. I mean, workers are scared of the boss. They're scared of repercussion, and so it's really kind of, I mean, even though that we now have a card check back from just a couple of years ago, which basically just means that if you get over 50% of the people voting, at least 55% here in BC, you get automatic certification and you go to bargaining your first collective agreement. Prior to that, it was 2 steps, right? You'd have to do that, and then you'd have to go and take a vote 10 days down the road, which gave time for the employer to really freak people out, and then they would fail a lot of the times because people would be like, maybe I don't want to join this union, right? Because whatever, this memo I got from the boss, right? So it's supposed to be easier now, but it's still difficult. That fear is real. People are, they want to make a living, and we get that. But I hear stories from some of these workplaces, and I'm like, oof, we can help. We just need you to come join us so we can help you, because some of the stories you hear about the things that people they do to people, and it's mostly because they don't know. They don't know any better. People don't understand even the small rights you have in employment standards. There's a small slice of rights that all workers have. People don't know what those are either, because I don't think they teach that in school. They don't tell you, like, oh, these are your rights in the Employment Standards Act, right? I don't remember that course. If I did, I slept through that course.
Northwest Connections will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK TV studios, this is Northwest Connections with your host, Robert Pictou.
Unions are important because they advocate for better wages, benefits, and working conditions for workers. They also play a role in ensuring workplace safety and promoting equal opportunities. In this final segment of Northwest Connections, Brian shares how unions act as a counterbalance to management, empowering workers and providing a voice to the workplace.
The heart of what we do is we collectively bargain as a group. So what that means is that I, as the local head bargainer, we elect the workers elect a bargaining committee. We do a survey of our members, find out what the priorities are this round of bargaining. It could be anything. We noticed the last 3 years, we're spending so much money on gas, and the gas allowance doesn't cover it anymore. Okay, well, we're going to get some more money of that. Or when cell phones started to use more, this one thing we started to notice is that companies wanted members to use their own phones and then upload the data, and they're getting these like $200-300 bills they had to pay for these uploads. Say, no, if you want that, you're going to pay for it. so we negotiate cell allowances or cell phones themselves given to people. So these are things that can come up, and talking to our members, we decide what the priorities are. And it's different every round. Sometimes it's like, yeah, we just want money. Okay, that's easy. We just say, look, our members need money, right? So we take all that stuff and then we go to the bargaining table and try to negotiate changes to the collective agreement in hopes of making it better.
You mentioned earlier that you came into this in the newspaper. So you still do the newspaper? Or?
No, I'm on leave now. So our local, because we got 20 some odd units throughout BC, it's a full-time position. And it's people always wonder that. It's like, oh, can you do both? And it's like, no, there's no way I could do my other job at the newspaper and focus on what we need to do here. And the work's varied. I mean, I could joke with people and say the president's role is multifaceted. I wear so many hats. I'm part-time investigator. I'm part-time mediator. I'm part-time negotiator. I'm part-time politician, because I get elected every 3 years too, right? I'm part-time counselor, because I help people and refer them to services. Grievance handler, you name it. I got so many different in my toolbox of things I do that just require a lot of time, right? Especially all the different units, right? So it's I enjoy it. I find it very rewarding to help people. By my nature, I'm a helper. I like to help people, and the union gives us the voice to do that, right? So if things are going weird at one of my units, I can step in, and the steward's like, hey, I need some help here. Sure, come in, and we'll talk to the boss and see if we can figure it out, right? Because I just like to help people. It's kind of why I do what I do, and it's always nice. It can be a thankless job, but sometimes you get the odd one that you do an awesome thing and you get a nice thank you, and it feels good when you've done something right for somebody.
In addition to Unifor helping workers, there are other things that Unifor does, like the reason why you're up here this week.
Yes, so we're very much want to support community programs. Some Unifor locals sponsor the local hockey team. Our local, we get involved every year down in Vancouver, the Steps for Life walk, which is raising funds and awareness for those that are injured or killed on the job. It's always the first Saturday after the day of mourning, which is April 28th, for workers killed or injured on the job. Something we believe in. We want people to go to work, be safe at work, and come home, right? That's the goal. No one wants to go to work to get injured or die. So we want to make sure they come home safely. And then, yes, the reason we're up here in Terrace is the Tears to Hope Society. Again, we as Unifor strongly believe in the Truth and Reconciliation and the report that was released a number of years ago. We've got the little book that has the little things you can do, and it can be small things and this is one of the things that we like to do here. We figure we got members up in Terrace here at the radio and television stations, and it's important to bring some awareness. So in addition to this actual walk happening this weekend, Unifor itself does a virtual walk, well, actual walks, but across Canada, sometime in October. I think it'll be October 6th or 7th this year, raising funds to also then give to the society. So we're trying to be a bit of a community partner with the Tears to Hope Society to bring awareness and some funds for their fundraising. I believe they're trying to raise funds to build an Indigenous healing center here in Terrace, and we want to be part of that. I mean, one of the things I said a couple years ago when we first did the first leg of the walk is they asked me to say some words, and I said, well, this is your event. We just want to be supportive. And I thought, when I saw these signs when I was driving here the first time, didn't know this was going on. So awareness. People didn't know that what are all these signs at the side of the road? I just felt we had to do something. So I'm going to put my action to where my words. So we're up here to raise awareness to do that. So I'm pretty passionate about it. I really hope you can hear that, because I believe we need to do something. I mean, as settlers, I think we need to realize we've did a lot of harm over the years, and there's lots of ways we can do to make things better, to help heal the relationship between our nations, right? So,
And is this the only event that Unifor is involved with, or there's multiple ones that?
There's a lot, like I said, the Steps of Hope is another one, or Steps for Life we do across Canada as well. There's this that we'll do in October for Tears to Hope related to this community as well. But like I said, other locals do different hockey teams. They'll do food bank drives, toy drives. Different locals do different things. But then the national, we have our social justice fund, which actually helps with communities too. So like when I had the fires up in Fort Mac, we were able to donate some money for that. When Vancouver got caught off with all those floods, again, Unifor was able to give money for that. That same fund actually helped what I find kind of cool, we represent a lot of media workers, is we teamed up with an international organization to help reporters escape Afghanistan. So when the regime changed there, dictators don't like to be held to account. So a lot of reporters were on the kill lists. So I think we've evacuated almost 400 families out of Afghanistan using the Social Justice Fund, along with the Human Rights for Journalists group that we're working with. So we do a lot of good things. We try to do some good things with some of those funds, and those funds are negotiated in collective agreements and paid by the employer. So the employers, in essence, we're taking those funds and then trying to make the world a better place with our Social Justice Fund.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Northwest Connections. The greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, but the connection from his mind and heart. If we can conquer that distance, we can soar like an eagle and realize our immensity within. I'm Robert Pictou.